welcome to First Financial Biz Beat, presented by the Business Courier. I'm Kyla Woods. Well, amid this pandemic, we're all looking for a sign that things are turning around. One way to tell, the architectural industry. On the front page centerpiece this week, plans for a comeback. The industry is a bellwether for commercial development and the larger economy. It has not had a great few months. In March, the Architecture Billing Index saw its largest decline in a quarter century. It sank even lower in April, but it did show signs of improvement in May. Matt Shuttlecotty runs downtown architecture firm GBBN, and he talked about what the future may hold with Courier reporter Tom Demaropoulos.
Thank you, Kyla. Good morning, Matt. Happy to have you here this morning.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for giving the opportunity to share what's happening at GBBN.
Great. So, Matthew, what happened at GBBN's offices in Cincinnati when the COVID-19 pandemic forced many businesses to close in mid-March?
Sure. I'll probably start with one thing is that because we have an office in Beijing, maybe we were a bit more prepared for what was coming in regards to the implications of the pandemic to office operations. So back in February and even into January, we had actually started to look at what were the implications of our ability to mobilize our staff. Our staff in our Beijing office had been working remotely from the beginning of January. So we had gone through our protocols to see what did we need in order for everybody to be working remotely. Fortunately, we're able to accommodate that in a rather easy way because so many of our staff are already on laptop computers. Our system is already in the cloud. So many of the things that people had to struggle to do were there. We had already shifted over to conferencing software and had been doing some things to try to promote the interconnectedness of our other offices. So we really were able to change from our inter-office communication to basically every team working in a remote situation. So we rather quickly mobilized it. We went from a Thursday of telling our staff that we were going remote on Monday, and shifted all our projects to make sure everything was in the cloud over the weekend, and Monday we're fully operational.
Wow. Well, what about, what are you seeing in terms of a rebound for architectural services? The ABI showed a historic decrease in March and April. What are you seeing now as we get into June?
Yeah, I'd say that what we're still seeing is a lot of uncertainty. And maybe it's because now we're not just dealing with COVID, we're dealing with a recession that had been talked about for many years in regards to if it was going to happen or when it was going to happen and how big would it be. We're dealing with the racial tensions and the unrest that are going on, in the United States and now influencing the world. So each one of these seems to be affecting our clients differently, and each one seems to present a slightly different challenge. So what's in front of us is still a great deal of uncertainty. Certainly our not-for-profit or our social profit groups that are so dependent upon charitable contributions are affected by the fluctuations in the stock market. Our education market is being greatly affected by how do you social distance and keep teaching when being on campus and being live and being in presence with people is so important to the whole educational experience. And so they're still struggling with it. Our healthcare clients, which for months had to deal with how do they mobilize to deal with the COVID, which then meant they had to shift their emphasis from their general operations to how to deal and address COVID. And then the losing of their elective surgeries and elective procedures that really changed their cash flow and their differences. So for us, each one of the areas we work in is really requiring a slightly different approach and tactic.
Yeah. So Matthew, why is it important to watch what happens to architecture firms? Why does that matter to the broader Cincinnati economy?
Yeah, so one of the really interesting kind of things about our profession is that we're the forecasters of what's going to happen. what's happening within a business or within an industry. When somebody decides they have to build something or have to renovate a space, it does mean there's some type of transformation that's happening in their company or within the industry that they're responding to. So that when you see a lot of building going on, that means that there's a vibrancy and an energy that's happening in an area that's reacting to something. Right now, for the past several years, it's been very much around positive reactions. It's around growth and the growing of our neighborhoods that are shifting demographics, that are shifting what people are doing. It's universities that are growing in their stature, whether it's through the research that they're doing or digital technologies, or our hospitals that are continuing to change their status within their industry. So that's really exciting. And building is really a display of what's happening in a positive way. So for people that want to know how is your economy and how's it going and what's happening, looking at what's happening in the building industry is a pretty easy way to see if something is healthy or not.
Yeah. So quickly, Matthew, what are you forecasting for next year with all of those, different things happening?
Yeah, I guess I would start saying, we were ready to forecast some really sizable opportunities and growth. We've certainly backed off on that a bit. The idea that what's happening and what's the transformation and changes that are happening within our different clients is still questioned. So we're taking a conservative approach. We're saying, we're really not going to promote growth. We're trying to create our spending in a way that permits us to hold on to all of the people that we have and all of the investments we've made in growing our staff and developing our staff. So we're really in a bit of, we're going to have to see what's happening, what's going on with our clients. So we don't want to change. We want our clients to be able to count on us and rely that we're going to be able to provide the services they're expecting and demanding. But we're going to have to be flexible. We're going to have to be prepared to shift from new builds to maybe smaller new builds. We're going to have to shift from projects that maybe are more renovation or interior focused, projects that are maybe more studies, more analysis about what the future is and how it's changing. So flexibility, being able to adjust and adapt is going to be really important. And that's how we're building our budgets.
Excellent. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for your time this morning. Kyler.